Hi, everyone. Hope you all are well. I'm excited to hear this next fireside chat. AJ Abdalat, CEO of Beyond Limits, and Deepak Garg, CEO of SEW, and Zprime CEO Jason Rodriguez are about to discuss artificial intelligence and how it is accelerating the digital transformation. Jason, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, Becca. Great to see you, everyone, for this great conversation this afternoon. We've heard a lot about policy, about utility transformation on the water side and the electric side, but I'm here with two amazing trailblazers who are leading the revolution both in digital transformation and artificial intelligence here today. So thank you, Deepak, for joining us. Thank you, AJ. It's a pleasure to have you both here today. And AJ, I wanted to start off with you and talk a little bit about Beyond Limits, what the company is, where you're located, and then also tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Jason, for having me. I'm excited to be here. We're located in Glendale, in the greater Los Angeles area. We're about 10 miles from Pasadena, where Caltech and NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory are located. Beyond Limits is an industrial and enterprise grade AI with deep legacy from Caltech and NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Fantastic. So there's been a lot of different ways over the past years, from buzzwords to applied, to define our artificial intelligence. Can you explain a little how Beyond Limits is trying to help energy and water industries in the work you guys are doing?
As I mentioned, we come from a legacy of the space program. And what we do is we go beyond conventional AI. We take a unique approach to artificial intelligence, which unifies encoded human knowledge with machine learning and deep learning techniques. And the beauty about this approach is our AI system will continue to operate in a situation where data may be in short supply, in addition to the ability to basically provide the user with an audit trail.
Fantastic. And Deepak, can you maybe expand in terms of what you're seeing both in the energy and water industries in returns to artificial intelligence and digital transformation?
No, for sure. Thank you, Jason. I definitely love what AJ and his team is doing, and been able to gain with a lot of deep intelligence from AI standpoint when we talk about industry AI. What we've seen is at the same time when we talk about, we started the conversation about billions of people. This industry is serving billions of people, the end-to-end from a grid to the people. What we do to look the use cases where it's really make impact on the people life, which is in this case is the end-to-end energy and water management system. How you use the data, just like AJ said, that how you leverage the data and you leverage the data to a point where you start learning, a deep learning out of that, and go for a use case which really give benefit to the utility, which give benefit to the customer. Because if it doesn't benefit both, it's not going to be really commercialized for good reasons, and it doesn't provide the value drivers to the what both parties looking. And we feel very strongly the world we are living in and what we will be living in, it's going to be driven more and more deep, use case based driven AI and a human intelligence into it. And that's why I love the word when I talk to AJ is always a human-like AI, because you need to make the intelligence. Even we use the word, I know it's a little bit tricky when we say artificial intelligence because it's not human. But I think if we can work with the human intelligence, the AI we have and the very great learning a company like the Beyond Limit is doing, we can make a big difference and we can provide an entirely different dimension of AI, for this industry.
Thank you. And AJ, you said something very pointed there about the use of cognitive AI to encode human knowledge. So how have you seen industries use this capability in practice?
Well, mainly in closing the knowledge gap. many legacy industries like energy, oil and gas, and even the aerospace industry, they have retiring workforce. And what we've seen is many senior level engineers with decades of domain knowledge and experience. And that knowledge and experience would be lost if you cannot transfer that to the younger generation. Our approach to AI would allow us to basically encode that human knowledge into the system and allowing corporation and the enterprise to scale that across the enterprise to allow the younger generation to benefit from that. For example, we're working with a strategic partner, a player in the energy, BP, and we actually believe that the utility sector can benefit greatly from that. Also, if you look at the globe, in the developing and underdeveloping countries, there are like 1 billion people without access to electricity, without access to a clean cooking. For us to enable to help that, to basically deliver power, utility, and water to the field, we need to leverage expertise and knowledge base from developed countries. And I think cognitive AI can play a significant part in helping in that role.
For sure. And Deepak, obviously the utility industry, which is facing that retiring workforce at an extremely high rate, I'm sure you have a lot to add this, but also you talk quite a bit also about human intelligence. So would love to kind of get your thoughts on this as well.
No, I think I love this. The word is itself, cognitive AI, because truly no system can be intelligent without adding the human knowledge into it, the human intelligence into it. And to your point, as the industry has to provide more and more to the increasing demand. When we talk about water, power, and gas, we are not going to see the downside of the demand is only going to up because of the EV, which because of them we're going to be adding a 30% more people in the world by 2050. With the world population from today, from 7.65 billion people is going to be around 9.98, around 10 billion people. How are we going to provide these very, very important natural resources to those people? We can live. I think we started that conversation from the morning. We cannot live without water, and we cannot innovate without power and the gas. So what we do to ensure that these systems, enterprise systems, these operational systems, intelligence being given in the hands of the customer, how we take that intelligence in the form of AI, which is proactive, which give a decision-making capabilities to the human to act on it, or machine to take care of the decision power, which is a human cannot do it. And a lot of computing goes into it. So we are very strongly feel the direction and the intelligence Beyond Limit did and have with all the other industry, irrespective of oil, or definitely helping the team come from JPL and NASA and different places, how we can definitely leverage that intelligence, to apply to actually this industry, which is really required, because we are talking about real-time demand and supply. It's just truly required a next level of intelligence. And I think that cannot come from actually base AI, rather than adding the flavor of very deep cognitive AI into it.
Thank you. And now moving to COVID-19, which is on the top of everyone's mind, how AI and digital transformation are really going to help these industries move forward. Utilities in particular have been impacted. Not only have they had to transform their workplaces to work from home in a lot of places, but they're also experiencing 10, 20, 30% losses in revenue that they're not sure how or if they're going to collect. So how have you seen these changes take place across the different industries you're working with, AJ? And then also Deepak, how are you seeing utilities take it from the digital transformation side? So AJ, we'll start with you to see how some of the industries you've worked with or working with have been impacted by COVID.
Well, the main thing, which actually is a positive thing, is we see that COVID-19 caused was acceleration of adoption of digital transformation and AI. we actually have seen a lot of companies to adjust to COVID-19 and the challenges of COVID-19 is basically exposing their workforce to these new technologies in a, at scale, in a very short time frame, based on necessity. We actually see that as a very positive thing. Now, the other major thing we're seeing from remote work as we transition from office-based environment to a remote environment, this is kind of creating a challenge because now you don't have senior level workers basically getting involved in real time to support low-level workers. And we see AI actually playing a significant role because now, as I mentioned, we can encode that knowledge and experience and scale it across the enterprise. And by providing an audit trail, allow to low-level workers to basically have confidence in the system, to work with the system without a real-time intervention from the senior level workers. We see this as a positive way for corporations to deal with efficiency and reliability.
And Deepak, your thoughts there?
No, for sure. I think I really align to what AJ was trying to explain. Definitely, COVID is impact all of us globally. Definitely, it's created a huge loss for our society globally. And we feel that for good or bad reasons, as every bad time will bring something good, and we make us, all of us learn better for tomorrow. I think we all learn one thing is we need better systems, better channels to able to perform our job. And I think we need to appreciate every industry. They found a way to operate to ensure that they are able to support. And to AJ's point, that support, which is no more available physically, which was dependent upon human intelligence, how you make the machine, the programs. And again, this is where it takes the different dimension. I know that for good reasons, a lot of people are talking about, hey, they have a digital transformation tools, they have AI, they can do machine learning. But the point is, it's no more that horizontal approach. You need to go more vertically deep. You need to go integrated AI. You need to go integrated digital transformation. You can't just go horizontal because anything to get performed by machine, it required a lot of intelligence to be built, which required a lot of business knowledge, that required a lot of technical knowledge, and that required a lot of focus, And I think what we've seen is there are the two kind of companies, one who's talking, they can do it, and there are companies who are very core focused and making sure those use cases being built end to end. And those are broader, and those are very deeply vertically integrated. And I think we see that we speed up as a company, not just because of there's an opportunity, as we talked about it, we are not in the selling mindset. We are the part of this industry. We are the part of this industry. We want to offer more and more in serving mindset, the offering which help to the workers, to offer utilities, irrespective of they're sitting at home to operate for an operational activity, or they're outside to perform a job because they were outside. They need a full hands-on decision-making capability on the machine they're using. That can be iPad, that can be a window device. How they take the right decision, what the options they have. At the same time, their work impact the customer, and the customer pretty much consumption impact the overall supply chain. So how we make sure the customer leverage additional capabilities through the best intelligence available to them in form of AI or human intelligence to be proactive to the part of the ecosystem. So we've seen very high speed growth for not only for this industry to get to the next level, but for the company going globally. Every utility from water, power, gas, cities are looking for a transformation for the right product, because definitely what they don't want to do is the same, the dot-com boom, everybody was trying to build the websites, everybody was trying to do, the e-commerce, but we know that, the people who take it seriously, who understood, who were committed before to do that, they've been successful. And I think we're crossing a finger. We want to make sure is people don't get into the industry for opportunity. It is not an opportunity. It is a time when we get focused, we go vertically deep, we connect the dots, and we give our solutions, which is truly serving rather than selling to the industry. Sorry, I get a little bit more excited about these things. So please.
That's okay. That's great. We need that excitement. And I think AJ, you're exactly right that let's lean into this opportunity, take advantage of the acceleration, use it to kind of leap forward into probably a lot of projects, and there's a lot of slow movement to really utilize the benefits that this technology can bear. But I also wanted to take some time. Well, first I want to take the audience. I have 2 more questions for Deepak and AJ, and would love to get some questions. Please send them in the chat to ask both AJ and Deepak. But AJ, how do you see AI in particular being used to support sustainability measures? Every company out there seems to have a broad goal out there. I think it's become more than a buzzword. It's time for action. Do you see AI being a key player or technology that can be used to support sustainability efforts?
I do. I think sustainability is a very important issue that we're all dealing with. And I think what you're going to see is AI will provide corporations and the consumer the option to base their buying decisions based on lower carbon footprint with consideration for other variables like cost. But this is important. Right now, the decision will be in the hands of the corporation and the consumer. They can make that decision, and we believe, ultimately we will do the right decision as corporate citizen. But let's be clear about it. Getting to lower carbon footprint and net zero initiatives is not an easy task. It's going to require more efficient operations. And here where we strongly believe that AI was specifically, can basically be part of the solution and help significantly in addressing those needs. And we're excited about that.
Fantastic. And so kind of moving on, and Deepak, I'll let you take the first stab at this. We're moving into 2021. There's a lot of optimism and hope across the globe. So what are some of those key trends you see in digital transformation, AI for next year? And Deepak, I'll let you take the first stab at that one and then come back to AJ.
No, I think I feel that good reason is no more trend. It's become a reality and more deep reality for all of us. As we talked, I think we definitely speed up all our R&Ds to globally, when we talk today, and those R&Ds are real-time use cases to bring it to what AJ was saying is from both, from a grid standpoint, from a consumer standpoint, from operational efficiency standpoint, sustainability growth goal standpoint, reliability standpoint, resilience standpoint. So we've seen is all interconnected, and we want to make sure is that intelligence which is there or was in form of manual systems to connect the dots, it has to be coming to the machine. And if the machine has to be proven to ensure that it can perform better than or equivalent to the human decision-making capabilities. So it's a lot of learning happening, a lot of investments we are doing ourselves because we are increased our own focus on AI for in last 5 years, whatever we've been doing, and the focus we had. Now it's every set of the capability we do, there is a machine learning and AI part of that, and we feel as we get in the future, these trends and these problems are going to be more and more in front of us, not just because of it is a problem, but these are the great opportunity to solve, which has not been picked up before because we were not looking that as to solve by machine. It was always depend on one way or other, it was old process or the manual process. But we see that the demand on the water, power, and gas, the density on certain areas, irrespective of we take it commodities or we take cities or countries. And then the crisis, when we take the water or the power and gas is huge. If we don't do it today, it's no more reactive to do it something. I think as a tech company, we both, as a two company, we are focused to be in a proactive nature rather than reactive nature. We want to provide a solution before the problem becomes so bad, cannot be resolved. We don't want to get into that situation. So I think for us, this is the core focus, with the mix of the customer experience we do, the end-to-end workforce management we do, end-to-end operational analytics we do. Everything is in AI. We don't want to highlight the AI is the only component, but it is the component. It is kind of the nucleus of every use case, what we do.
And AJ, what are some of those trends for AI that you're seeing for next year?
So we have seen many companies utilize industrial AI in really kind of a limited fashion. And what I mean by that, in what we call a proof of concept, POC, or what we call a minimum viable product, MVP scale. And the reason for that they haven't made significant investment is because they wanted to wait and see a demonstrable value. Now, the good news that I have to say, just working with many corporations, is we're beginning to see that they're finally realizing the benefits of the outcome of these POCs and MVPs. And I actually am excited about 2021, where you're going to see more kind of transition from POCs, MVPs to commercial product at scale. I think 2021 is going to be the year where you're going to see that transition take place, and we're excited about that. The other point I wanted to mention, for Beyond Limits, we have a vision that we call the Cognitive Corporation. Today, if you look at deployments of AI system, they're kind of like, sitting in the corner doing a specific task. What we see and what we're going to see and what we're excited about is the ability to actually connect the system within a corporation, enabling what we call the Cognitive Corporation to allow for a lot of insight at the executive level. Insight that you're not going to be able to see if you haven't connected the system in what we call hive mind intelligence network of intelligence agents. And we're excited about that. And we are excited to basically pioneer that concept of the Cognitive Corporation.
Fantastic. I think that leads into one of the audience questions. And the question is, how is that, it alludes to, I think, some of the comments, or how is the accumulation of older worker knowledge maybe different from previous expert systems? So what can be enabled through this current models that hasn't in the past?
Great question. So previous or older generation expert systems were mainly rule-based system. So that you basically coded these rule system. What we're talking about here is a lot more than that. What we're talking here is about, basically physics-based models. We're talking about pieces of wisdom that senior level workers have gained throughout their experience and years, knowledge, gut feeling. So it's a lot more than your traditional or your grandfather type of rule-based system. Infusing that with a data-driven approach is going to give us a fantastic ability to solve some of these complex problems.
Got it. And this is something, Deepak, that you touched on. There was more of a comment, but this concept of 360 integration. So it's not just like, for example, like you mentioned, it's not just putting it at the customer side. This is integrated, just ingrained in the business itself. Is that something, Deepak, that you guys are also working on and see becoming more prevalent in 2021? And then AJ, not sure if you have any comments there as well.
No, I think I can not agree more than it's as we discuss about that. This is always going to be the 360, irrespective of we take it. The 360 is every dimension. Every dimension where we have a data available, we need to have that machine to train, create the models to able to take the decision to the AJ's point, how we all, as a computer science engineers, we learn that distributed computing, how you take that computing intelligence to bring it to one model and able to perform the job for the customer to take the proactive decision, for the operator sitting in the grid or distribution system, have that availability of the decision-making capability by machine. So we see that it's not only decision-making in silo, but decision-making in the real time, all the way downstream integrated to every environment, every system they have. And if we are able to do that, which we are performing in a multiple use cases, which has a very deep integration done with the multiple ERP systems we talk about, the workman systems and all, we feel this is only going to go to the next level because the data, the amount of data we think we are creating from the customers' interactions, we are creating from systems. And as we look in the future, the 5Gs and IoT come in the picture, we will have a pulse of everything. How you use that intelligence to the actual decision-making capability proactively, just like a human does. When we look something, we react on it because we have a stored model in our brain to react on it. How we can replicate that for the business and offer that. And this is where I love that what AJ's and the team talk about cognitive AI, how you connect those brain intelligence into the machine, build the models around and start taking the decisions on it. And those are very precise, 99.9% to 100% precision. Sorry, this is the love we have for AI and machine learning.
Yeah. AJ, would you have you started to see that? Is that the progression you see the growth, especially the industrial side and on the utility side of being at that 360 approach is where this eventually needs to go?
I do, and I'm actually really excited about this concept of the 360 and the ability to kind of connect the dots and imagine this right now. Designing a system where you're looking at it, from the consumer point of view and also from the grid and the utility point of view. One of the things that really impressed me is Deepak's vision in allowing the consumer, basically take more ownership in their behavior in terms of how they're going to consume electricity and water and making decision that's going to affect them. This is really empowering the consumer. At the same time, translating that win-win situation to the utility industry in terms of providing them with some options where they can actually lower their investment by understanding the behavior of the consumer. I think this is a great concept. I think this is a beautiful win-win situation between the consumer and the utility. And I actually would take it one step further. Imagine now looking at the entire ecosystem, take it beyond the utility to like power generation and even all the way upstream in terms of where the energy is generated. I think there's just going to be so many benefits that, AI can help with, visionary like Deepak taking it all the way to the consumer, and we're excited to be part of that ecosystem.
Well, fantastic, gentlemen. That about wraps up my time, but I have to ask one final question. What can we expect to see from Beyond Limits and SEW in the future?
Well, let me start. I mentioned we champion a unique approach to AI that would basically combines encoding human knowledge, domain expertise with a data-driven machine learning and deep learning techniques. And what we love is to basically work and collaborate with domain expertise and industry expertise like SEW and like Deepak to really look at specifically the utility industry, look at the challenges and basically design and build solutions that basically can really help solve these challenges. And we're excited about that.
And I take it on that, thank you, AJ, for putting that, I think I can tell you two committed companies, two committed brain with hundreds of team members with the partnership with the utilities and our big partners, all the big tech companies we have who we are serving globally. I think we will be working together in the future to solve all complex and simple problems, because we know that simple problem is very complex to solve and complex problem is very simple to solve if you're committed and passionate about it. Tom, I feel as a two mindsets, two intelligence company will only going to produce a serving mindset solutions, which will change the billions of people life to educate them, empower them, and engage them to ensure that they will save every electron they should save, every water drop they should not be using, and save for the tomorrow, all the generation coming, and they will say, thank you. What we are able to do in 2020 is really help in 30s vision and 40 vision and 50 vision. This is what our commitment as a two company.
Well, gentlemen, we thank you so much for joining us here at We3 Summit. We appreciate your time and look forward to learning more in 2020. And Becca, 2021, I'll hand it back to you.
Awesome. Yeah, Deepak, AJ, Jason, that was fantastic. Y'all's passion and energy for the subject really shows. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
As a
Thank you,
note to the
Rebecca.
viewers, we are approaching the last session of the day. But before we do, thank you to those of you who have been checking out the exhibitors tab and engaging with the platform. Also, don't forget to post your summit selfie on social media with the hashtag WE3. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.